What's going on? So today the topic is going to be about American Soul, the creation of Soul Train and Don Cornelius. Part one came on last night. The first two parts were on BET, and it takes you back to the origins of how Soul Train came to be through the Vietnam War, everything that was going on, parts in the country, the racial climate, a lot of stuff that used to be similar to today, and hopes and dreams and aspirations. And also it takes you to Black America and inner cities in different places and the workings. And from Chicago, pardon me, to Los Angeles, you get a feel of what Don Cornelius through his eyes and the landscape and his vision, and how, you got to remember, early 70s, we're talking only uh, 6 years, 6.5 years since civil rights bills were passed, only 15 years since Nat King Cole, when he was the first African American to be in prime time, and so on and so forth. So there was a lot going on, in your Flip Wilson show, you had different things, but Don Cornelius was promoting black owned, black operated business and enterprises. So this was a very bold and groundbreaking, trailblazing move, and also against the powers on the other side, like American Bandstand and Dick Clark. So this was a very revolutionary stance and take he was doing. He was bringing cutting edge black artists on his show, which he did. Gladys Knight and the Pips were the first major ones. And eventually he got the Godfather, so James Brown with the Jackson Five, who he said was the flip because they were the sound of young America and they were the happening, what happened, that was a big time thing. So he incorporated, he used to have great interviews on the show. And as the season goes on, I'm sure they will capture all the mini ones. I remember, seeing the old shows when Barry White was on there with his live with his orchestra, which was unheard of, and Tower Power playing live, and Stevie Wonder playing live, which is incredible. Al Green tore up Soul Train, classic. Marvin Gaye performed and played basketball with Smokey Robinson as a ref on the show, incredible. Aretha Franklin performing live, incredible. The late great Minnie Riperton was on the show, performed live. It was incredible. For me, the real Soul Train, in its essence, was from the early 70s to about the mid 80s because it got cornball after that. Um, and if you're a white artist and you want to prove you had game, you came to Soul Train. David Bowie came out there, did Fame, tore it up. Elton John did Benny and the Jets live. That was gangster. And that was very memorable. A lot of, I've always loved when Don Cornelius and Rick James had they go they T to Tay. He gave great, oh yeah, and Don would give you tributes if he was blowing up. So he always had respect. He embraced hip hop the way he was cool with it, as far as from a business perspective, because he saw the changes going on in the business. So they adapted to. Let me tell you something. Soul Train was like a Black America utopia growing up as a kid back in the day. Because from head to toe, you knew what the year was, the clothing, the gear, the whole nine. So that's what it represented. And he made sure he kept that funky fresh. So you could look at from the hair to the clothes, you knew what era, what time, the music, it was all interlocked. That's what the show was also emphasizing. He made sure to keep it fresh and he kept it on point. So, and I watched every era of Soul Train. Excuse me. There are obviously fall off eras and so on and so forth with time, but pretty much anyone who was anyone at some time and point in their career, even in the water down here, performed on Soul Train because it was just one of those places that you had to pay homage to. I still remember when Luther Vandross, Cheryl Lynn, Luther tore it up. Commodores, Lionel Richie was on there. I mean, they call Madison Square Garden the mecca of NBA basketball. Well, Soul Train was the mecca of black entertainment performance. It was the truth. And you saw it all on that stage, great routines, great performances. And then, you have the dancers, some of the most known ones. Some of them even became Shalimar with Jody Watley and Jeffrey Daniels out there who would dance before they blew up. Because Soul Train used to be Soul Train Records, then it got turned to Solo Records when Don Cornelius and late great Dick Griffey. So that's a whole nother story and chapter and the whispers and all that. And Leon Silver's production in the house and all that. And then, you know, Rosie Perez. You seen a lot of you had to have steps. You had to be able to move. The Soul Train dancers were fly, you know, incredible talent. Asian woman, she was bad. She was bad. And the brother that used to dance with New Edition on there, he was bad too. So I'm not calling by their name when I think I'm clearly, but I'm gonna tell you something. Everybody in there could dance, had style, they had the swag. Don had it, you know. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the series and the season. It's great to see the Soul Train is finally getting acknowledged and getting its due, and Don Cornelius is getting its due. I also want to give a big shout out to Sid McCoy, the voice of Soul Train, because he would do that narrative, and he was cool too. So that's how I want to say. And wishing, as Don would say, we want to wish you love, peace, and soul. And leave those comments. I'm out.